Hey guys, it's Adam here. A little sick today. Just want to welcome to my live stream. This is going to be a rough one. I am founder and CEO of Sierra Pacific Group. I serve as ConnectWise Advisory Council member. And I want to bring on my co-host pretty quickly to save my voice. And let's go, Sean.
Hey Adam, that was definitely the most concise opening to any live stream we've ever done. Just want to be clear, that was so concise.
Yeah, it's been I
Let me
flew
ask,
over the weekend.
how are you doing?
Like days and days of talking, and the flu previous weekend.
Yeah,
It's been busy.
so you're saying it's going well. Good.
Yeah.
So I'll help you with your voice today. What we're here to talk about today is Pitch It Live, right? We're here to talk about Pitch It. We're here to talk about how last year kind of helped worked out, how this year is working out now, where we are. And Adam's going to say, so Sean, tell us a little about Pitch It. And I'm going to say, okay.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I'm going to start to explain the fact that what Pitch It is, it's ConnectWise's way of giving back to the community by trying to find the new emerging technologies and innovations and whatnot that are coming in this space that are going to be very supportive to our partners. They will work in conjunction with ConnectWise in many cases. They'll be part of our ecosystem. At the end, we look for them to be invent partners, so they do have integrations to make it easier to work with. The goal ultimately is to find the best of the best, so they can provide very quality services to make your day in day out easier as an MSP. Now, the difference between why it's Pitch It and it's an actual competition is because it is an actual Shark Tank competition. We will start with a 16-week accelerator program, and however many vendors are involved, no matter what, after 16 weeks, we will then do a virtual live pitch off where we eliminate all but three. The three best move on to IT Nation. That'll happen in November and compete live on stage. The first place finisher will receive $70,000 cash prize. Second place, $30,000. Third place, well, it was great that they were able to come. But all in all, what we all in all, the real takeaway from this though is that yes, people want to win money. People definitely want to get on stage. They definitely want to get more exposure. But it's the constant visibility and the training development that take place over the course of the several months that the Pitch It season is intact, right?
Mhm.
Part of it is working with you, Adam, and we appreciate the fact that you've been such a advocate for us in doing these live streams, even when you can't talk.
Barely.
So yes, so you can expect to see what's going on. Now, as you can see scrolling across the bottom of the page, application period is open as of right now. It'll close the last day of April. The season will kick off within the first 2 weeks of May. All right. So any vendor out there that is an emerging technology, innovative, whatever, we're looking for you guys. We're looking for all of you to apply. It doesn't cost you anything to apply. It doesn't cost you anything to be in the program. Okay. So again, we'll actually go right into the show, right?
We will.
So let me bring on our other guest because I got you.
Okay.
I got you, dude. Well, I'm trying to save you. You're welcome. One of last year's contestants, a good friend of ours. He is from the founder of Adaptive Catalog, also two-time vendor, by the way. First time he startup vendor. First time he actually sold to ConnectWise. So he's back in the ecosystem, and he came back last year, applied for Pitch It, and we can bring him on now. My good friend, our good friend, Stephen Yu. Hello, sir.
Hello, how's it going?
Doing great. Well, I'm great. Adam, not so much.
Awesome.
Yeah, Adam, not so great.
I'm okay.
Did I do you justice in how I introduce you? I couldn't think of how to really tell about your awesomeness.
I know. I was going to talk about all that, but then you just stole my thunder. So
I'm
I
sorry.
can just do the brief intro. So yes, two time in the ecosystem founder. I originally was co-founder of Quozel, which was a quoting tool for MSPs, and we sold to ConnectWise, and it became ConnectWise Sell. This time around, I am starting Adaptive Catalog. We're a single pane of glass to source and procure products, hardware, software, cloud services for MSPs. So your major distributors, your Ingrams, DNHs, your Pax8, basically anything that you want to buy and sell to your customers, we can get it for you, and you can order through us, or of course you can order through your distributors. We're very agnostic.
So let's talk about that. What's the importance of, so everything you've done, both companies are essentially a growth and sales enablement type concept, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think, honestly, this is one area that most MSPs are not amazing at, mostly because I think I used to be in the MSP VAR world way back when I was young and, didn't have all this gray hair that you see now. But my background is in tech, electrical engineering, and then mostly in IT and software development. And so when I worked in the MSP space, I approached it from okay, we can take care of your tech needs. We'll make your network super speedy. We'll make sure your computers are running, your notebooks are secure, or all these things, right? Your wireless isn't going to get hacked. But I never really thought about how you actually convince new customers, especially, that you're the right person for the job. And so you don't go to them with, hey, here's the latest tech specs on this Cisco or this whatever.
Yeah.
No, that's the wrong way to approach it. It's a relationship building. It's talking about why you're going to help them understand their business, how you're going to help them offload the work that they're doing that's not core to their business, right? Because you're going to be helping dentists, you're going to be helping lawyers, you're going to be helping other small businesses, construction, whatever else, and that's their core strength. That's what they're good at. They're not going to be good at tech. You need to be their trusted advisor. You need to really say, I know exactly what you need to get this part of your infrastructure running so that you never have to worry, because then you can focus on, again, selling to your customers. And so my focus in the last probably 15 years now has been, well, how do we help MSPs become better at sales? And the way to do that, of course, is to make it really easy for them to put out a nice proposal based on responses, requests for quotes and or just incoming things. Because these small businesses, they are going to figure out pretty quickly they don't want to be in IT, because it's not a great thing, especially if you're not good at it.
Well, so I think so. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about adaptive catalog, right? Mm-hmm. My background, actually, you couldn't have two better people on a call, I suppose, because my background's always been within sales enablement, and facilitating and increasing velocity, simplifying, whatnot, right? And Adam's whole core business for Sierra Pacific Group is about implementation, integration, getting people onboarded quickly, and in production. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, we all have the same outcome that we want, right? Which is get people in production, get rid of the noise. You're welcome, Matt. Don't worry.
Thank you. You're like carrying me.
Doing elevator pitches for Sierra Pacific Group and everything now. See, I'll send you my info. So, in part of the journey that I've been in, and because I've also done a ton of channel enablement, so as a vendor working with partners, but also as an actual channel enablement offering to vendors and partners, the struggle point for years has been, one part of it is the velocity piece, the simplifying the process in which you're going to provide quotes, proposals, everything. And you've already done the closal part, so we know that happened, right? But the adaptive catalog piece is somewhere in between that, right?
Yeah, it's so what the industry likes to call it is CPQ, configure, price, quote, right? Mm-hmm. It's all the things you need to get to from the moment the opportunity comes in the door to cash, so all the steps in between. Well, the ConnectWise Sell and all these other quoting tools like to call themselves CPQ, but to be honest, it's not. It's really Q, quoting. And they do a really fantastic job with that. The most beautiful outputs, everything else.
So what's the difference?
Well, there's also the configuring and the pricing part, right? Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, when we were working on Quosel, we didn't have a good solution to that. So we outsourced that to, it doesn't matter, the company's called Utilize, but we outsourced that part. We basically said, we need to get product specs, we need to get descriptions, we need to get configurations. Okay, there's this other company that can do that. So we use that, integrated it with Sell, use that to pull part numbers, to get vendor descriptions, all those sorts of things. But it had a lot of shortcomings, and it's too long to get into here. But the main point is, the main shortcoming is that it's not true configuration, because it's hard to get products. The APIs are old, they're outdated. It wasn't meant for real-time quoting. It was meant for e-commerce. platforms. And so it's slowed down more and more. And especially during the pandemic, people couldn't actually do searches through that interface anymore. It ended up so that most MSPs, if they needed to source hardware and software, they would go to the vendor websites, the D&Hs, the Ingrams, find the part number they need and copy them into their quoting tool, because that's the only way. Using their search, the Utilize search, made it so that, for instance, like an Elite book, there's 16,000 of those products from Utilize. You pull back 50 at a time, which is their limitation. I happen to know there were only 22 in stock. There's still only about 25 of those models in stock right now. You're never going to be able to find that. And so that was the problem that I started really tackling once we sold to ConnectWise was, well, how do we figure out recommendations, configurations, making it super easy, and then sourcing it, finding things for these MSPs. And especially on the smaller MSP side, they may not have relationships with all of the distributors, because it takes a lot to keep up relationships. And then if you don't buy enough, they'll cut you off and so on.
But let's talk about this, right? Okay, so back to CPQ, right? I mean, that's been the Bigfoot of the industry for years, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
CPQ. Now the problem is, if you're a vendor with a partner, you're not going to have and all vendors say they have CPQs, right? As far as like, they all say they do, right?
They all say they do.
But it's like, but in reality, what it comes down to is, it doesn't make sense for a manufacturer to provide a CPQ, because the configuration piece is the differentiator in this, right? Because when you talk about configuration, we're talking about configuring to multiple products, perhaps, depending on what the offering is in conjunction with. So only if it's a one sell-through process, if it's only, again, you're not trying to configure, you're not looking for all multiple price books and multiple products, right? And that's and so what you guys are trying to solve for, and this is how I interpret it the entire time, is that I'm a salesperson with an MSP. I can literally find my price books on all products that I need for this client, because I'm not selling just one thing. I'm selling, if I'm selling them a laptop, I'm selling them a phone service, so hardware phone too, plus service, plus our managed service offering, whatever that consists of. That's already 3 to 4 different line items.
Yeah, and you're searching for them in different places. In any standard CPQ tool right now, you'll use that Utilize maybe to find just the hardware. You're going to then have to, like, especially if you have warranty or services, you need to do a separate search for that. And then if you have project hours or managed service hours, you might have some in a template, you might have some in other places, you might have some in ConnectWise product, the product, the catalog that they have. You have to do a separate search in each one of those, and it's a lot of copy and pasting. So which is
a problem. So it's not a configurator at that point. It's configuring to just a one specific product or service from that company. But like, when I think of configuration, I think of configuration holistically based off of what the need is of the current, whatever my current opportunity is. So if it's multiple pieces, and there's not a manufacturer that's going to offer the ability to tap into other price books.
No, and they don't want to, right? Because the manufacturers are focused on their own things.
Eliminate noise, bring the stuff they need to, so your platform has the ability to pull from multiple manufacturers essentially in one place, one portal, where I can literally shop, almost like Amazon would be, to find the things I need.
Right, and then we do recommendations, right? Like, you talked about the laptop. If it's an HP laptop, of course we'll recommend like an HP carrying case. But what if HP doesn't have it? Well, we'll also recommend other carrying cases that work for that. Same thing with battery backups. A lot of HP things don't have battery backup, but maybe you need a backup battery that works, or
so you're curating
power supply.
So you're curating for them too, just like Amazon does.
Yeah, we're curating. We're making sure that there's compatible parts, not necessarily by the same manufacturer. We do try to recommend same manufacturer, but sometimes it's just not available.
And for a lack of a better term, you're creating a shopping cart experience.
Yeah, you keep saying that. I do not think of us as cart software. Like,
you're not, because you're not buying from there. But I'm saying in the practice and process of it all, the ease of and that's a compliment to you guys, because that's, if you think of like Amazon or Walmart or anything you do on a shopping cart, literally you're selecting it's easy to find what you need, select the button, it automatically populates. And I know at the end what I have, and I can then validate, right? I can reconcile right there.
Exactly. And that's the kind of key to our value prop is everything in one place, including those services that you have inside of ConnectWise or wherever else.
Right.
You can pull those too, and it'll all put it into the workspace for you. Then obviously we have integrations to ConnectWise Sell, to ConnectWise Manage, to push it back. We have a pod inside of Manage so that when you're looking through the Manage product catalog, it'll pull extended content too. It'll show availability from vendors. It'll show pictures. It'll show the actual descriptions that you would use, not the ConnectWise long description that no one would want to bother with.
I think Adam has a question. He's going to be able to try.
No, I just. So we are here talking about PitchIT, and so what inspired you to apply to PitchIT?
Well, as I said, I'm a second-time vendor, so I kind of know I can squirrel my way around ConnectWise reasonably well. But one thing that I definitely wanted to understand was, the first time I did all this was years ago, 2013 or so is probably about the right time frame. Things change, especially in the tech world. Things change a lot, and right. So I really wanted to talk to other vendors in the space, get the education on just like how to market to the MSP community. Because by the time I left ConnectWise, I was at a fairly senior position. I didn't really do this kind of all this ground footwork that I'm doing now, which is actually the most fun part of a startup.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. So I had like high level relationships with like big MSPs and such, but that's not how you get a new product to market. And so this was a really good way to understand, okay, well, from the ground floor, what are we doing? Who are we talking to? What shows should we go to? And I think that was my biggest takeaway from PitchIT, was understanding what shows to go to, how to market to MSPs at those shows, who to talk to. That chain of relationships was not something that I was particularly strong at, because again, I'm on the tech side, so I mostly worked on a lot of back-end things and customer requests and things like that.
So how did you like I mean, that was the first time we did the accelerator program, you know that. So how did you feel about it?
Oh, you brought me on, so I have to say good things, right? You've already vetted me.
Back to sending invoices out. Send me your invoice. I'll get that check out to you right away.
Yeah. No, I thought the accelerator was fantastic. It forced, it basically gave you a framework, right? Like before that, I had vaguely been peripheral to PitchIT before. I'd like kind of maybe judged once and watched some of the things. But what I recognized was that PitchIT was just kind of in its own little silo. Nothing much happened, and then like all these pitches happened, and then nothing much happened. And so the accelerator program was fantastic because it brought all the potential PitchIT contestants together in one room, virtual room, every week, and you brought in an industry expert, and some of those folks are really heavy hitters. I don't know who you have on deck this year, but
nobody does yet.
Yeah, nobody does, but they really great folks. They, again, I'm not going to name drop because I don't want to.
You can name drop all you want.
All right. Well, Sean Lardo. So it brought all these really industry veterans together to talk about the various parts of startup life, financing, marketing, sales, the things you need to get going, and even just managing the startup, making sure that, how to continue its life, make sure that employee management, and even a little bit of Arlen's thing with just basically life coaching too, right? Like we're all people as well. We're startup founders, but we do it for various reasons. Some people want to get rich. Some people really want to give back to the community, or just have a really cool problem they want to solve that they think is useful to the community. And so it helped me distill, why do I want to be here? Because I mean, let's be fair. I sold the ConnectWise. I could have retired, but it was going to be
That's
super
cool.
boring for me. So this is why I'm back.
That is so boring. I don't know that I can ever retire, even at like maybe part time. Like I see myself as being the guy that works at like Walmart getting the shopping carts. Just some.
Oh, I've already got my after like this thing, maybe one more. I'm going to be a substitute teacher, and I'm going to like go in, and they'll expect like a movie or something. I'm like, no. I looked at what you guys are doing. We're going to do the next chapter right here.
Yeah.
Those kids are going to be so mad at me.
No, I think once I'm done with this, I don't want to talk to anybody anymore. So just shopping carts are fine. They don't talk back. Literally just got to get them, push them around. Maybe be the door greeter at Sam's, like, welcome to Sam's. Do you have your card? You know,
or you talk so much that you can't talk anymore.
Exactly like Adam, right? He'd be a great he's a great shopping cart getter. So he's good at that. So,
but yeah, I mean, the program helped me think about that. Like, what do I want to do next? And I mean, obviously, we're still a few years away, short of my company getting acquired, by some large company. Not naming names or anything, but these things could happen.
Yes, they can. And now, did you notice? So, when you were doing when you did Quozo, did you do? I know you're on the back end yourself, but as an organization, did you guys actually do conferences and go out there and market and sell in these same spaces?
We did, but it was slow going. I actually the really funny thing is we went to the very first ConnectWise IT Nation. That was in 2007, 2008 timeframe.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was small. It was like in like some kind of little ratty, not even a ballroom. It was like in a ratty conference room in one of those Orlando hotels, not the current ones there.
Right.
One of the like Hilton or Hyatt or whatever. And that definitely was game changing for Quozel because we got into the space at the right time. People were looking for a quoting solution. We didn't even try to bill ourselves as CPQ because we knew we were completely missing that C part. We had a little bit of the pricing and quoting. It was only later that everybody was talking CPQ. We're like, okay, what do we do? And that's when So I like to say adaptive catalog is me doing a mea culpa, fixing my mistake. I brought in Utilize into Quozel and ConnectWise Cell because I was like, we really need some configuration. We need some data here. And we just picked that. And for better or worse, every other competitor of ours also latched onto that. So even today, you see the Zomentums, the QuoteWorks, the Quoters of the world, they all use Utilize as their backend not configuration data, manufacturer data. And I don't want to say how many hours, days, years of people's lives it has cost, but it is a very high number because the penetration of all these quoting tools together probably is 50-60% of the space. And beyond that, a couple of people might use like PandaDocs or like QuickBooks invoice type of quoting, but the majority do use some kind of quoting tool. And so all of them are wasting, especially during the pandemic, many hours of just to the point where they don't use it anymore, right? As I said, they go to the distributor website, they search for what they want, they copy the part number, they paste it in because that's all that they can do.
So so now you went there in the beginning. Then that now as adaptive catalog, you went through our program, the PitchIT program. Then you actually came to Connect.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I saw you at Channel. I saw you at CompTIA and Connect that year.
Yeah, you see, I'm getting around.
I know. I heard that about you, but that's where I was going with the conversation. Is now that you start to learn and start to, like you said, you're developing the other skills. You didn't do the fun part, like in the trenches. Did you find that it was easier for you to navigate through shows? More people started knowing who you were, stuff like that.
I would say I can't say for sure that PitchIT made it so that, because it's hard to differentiate between like where people know you from, right? And so I can't absolutely say. I have been in the ecosystem for years, like since 2008, as I said. So a lot of people know me from before. I will say that we go to some Kaseya shows too. those
That's fine.
those shows, no one knows me because I never really got into that ecosystem.
Sure.
And so any recognition there has come from some of these kind of I will attribute to PitchIT / some of the other like channel program or whatever PitchIT related things that have happened that people may be like, oh yeah, I think I saw you somewhere.
That I think you did a very, I don't even think, I know you did a very good job at doing these things, which is live streams, which is difficult for a lot of people. You're very relatable and you're very articulate, which is great. And you're, you know,
the invoice is getting smaller now.
But you do, you know exactly what you're talking about. And that's important. So like you were, if anything, you were an asset to PitchIT last year, because when we went on to the channel program to do the pitch off for the preliminaries, you were able to really hone in on what investors should look at and also what MSP should look at. And you did it within 5 minutes. Not a lot of people can do that. So that's a skill. And yeah, you probably did get some exposure from those things, which is great, but you definitely leveraged and took advantage of that for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I loved my experience. And as I said, like I wasn't even intending to try to win. Like my whole point was, let's do this. Let's get into the community. Let's talk to the other vendors. And you know what? I've now built some integrations with some of the other PitchIT contestants. Mm-hmm. So like these are, I'll say lifelong, but you know, I might croak sooner than later. So these are very long relationships that I've built.
So you can actually say till death do us part, really, because you make that thing, you know, right? No, that's good. I think that's actually been a resounding similarity with all the contestants, is the connections.
Yeah,
the collaboration.
It's the connections. At the end of the day, accelerators, you can get into a lot of different accelerators. They'll give you mostly the same kind of thing as far as, you know, how to run a startup, how to get out there, how to do guerrilla marketing. The difference is that this particular PitchIT event makes it so that you are with other startups and vendors that are really targeted to the space, the MSPs, and so they are a lot more focused on this, and there's a lot more chance that there's synergies between you and the other startups, so that you can do these kind of integrations or co-marketing events, things like that.
Absolutely. All right, so I know we have like 2 minutes left, so I got you, dude. I got you. So with that said, do you have any last words, Stephen, or words of advice for people that are considering starting a business or already have one and maybe coming to PitchIT or anything? Any words of advice since you've done this so much?
Yeah, well, I mean, I can only say what I've experienced, but I would just say that the main thing here is, remember, you start a business because you have a goal in mind. The business itself is not the be-all, end-all. Just remember that goal. You are trying to solve a problem, very likely, that you see for a subset of users that it is not being solved right now. In the MSP space, that's helping them with sales, helping them with their ticketing, you know, all these tools. They're helping them with something to save them time, save them money, or just save them exasperation. Like sometimes that's enough, right? And so keep that goal in mind, that you are doing a service to your customers. And so, yeah, join PitchIT, learn from the other vendors, learn from these great speakers, how to get your message out there, and then recognize that whatever you're building, that has value. And so this product will sell itself once you are able to get out there in front of people and they see what you're trying to do. So that's my advice, is build something great and then get it out there and sell it.
I love that. I like the goal actually better. I think that was important to say, because some people think the goal is the product. The goal is whatever. The reason why you started your business. Yeah, you have a skill set. You love some sort of industry or some way of attacking industry. You love that part, but it could have been that product, or it could have been a service, or it could have been anything that you could have really. The reason why you started a business is for multiple reasons. One is you're looking to make more money, right? You're looking to create something beautiful in your mind, right? You're looking for the freedom that comes with owning your own business eventually, right? Also, you're looking for a way to develop your own culture with your own people. That's typically the things you see why business owners do it. So I'm glad you said that, as opposed to saying it's about the product.
No, it's not. I'm saying you have a goal and you're trying to bring something into the world. So for whatever reason, and you know, if it's just for money, that's great. Like that's a really legitimate reason to incentivize people.
True story.
If that's what you want to do, get rich like Sean there, and it'll be
For sure.
amazing.
Yep.
So my last words, he already took most of them, Adam, because I know you're going to wrap this up for us.
Dude, this is awesome. Yes.
I got you, dude. Last words for me. Again, you can see scrolling across the bottom of the page that the application period is open for PitchIT. If you are a vendor trying to figure out what to do in the space, you want to leverage the ecosystem, this is a good way to get into the ecosystem and to start to connect with not only whoever you're competing against, but also other vendors, other ConnectWise colleagues, because you meet a lot of them, and also other industry leaders in the space that you may never have a chance to really meet, such as people like Michelle McBain and Amy Luby and whatnot, right? So these are people that are all very much involved and are happy to help us, which they've been so gracious. But I do suggest taking a look. Application process ends at the end of April. I think this was a great show. Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks for having me. It's always fantastic to chat with y'all, even if one of you has no voice.
Adam has been a great.
I'm just here.
He's been a great contributor. Adam's been a great contributor to this. Thank you, Adam. Adam, any last words?
Try not to talk after getting a flu. Some advice. Stephen, it's been a pleasure. It's been awesome. Definitely apply today. Sean, obviously, thank you for carrying me. This is good. This is good.
My back hurts.
With that, I think we're next week or the following week. I think we have a couple different shows. Like
we do.
Consistently.
We will have more of the last year's guest and last year's contestants, and then we actually come in May. We'll be starting up the regular season again, and it's back on full. Yeah. All guns blazing.
Looking forward to all the new cool companies that are going to be on display.
So I am actually. We have 16 or 17 that already applied.
Wow.
That all look almost all of them look legitimate too. Like we can see the stuff like because we get like last year legitimate that we're trying to accomplish because last year we had like a shirt company that applied. They're not legitimate. We're not looking for t-shirts. I mean, maybe we are, but again, so but yeah, that actually fit the bill for what we're looking for. So that's pretty good. And we still have a month and a half to go. So yeah,
sweet.
Yet.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
All right.
See you later.
Have a good one, guys.
See you next week. Talk there.
Thanks, y'all. Bye now.